Honey looks pure, golden, natural, straight from the hive to your kitchen. But what if that jar on your shelf is laced with corn syrup, contaminated with pesticides, or imported from countries with zero safety standards? Today, we expose 11 honey brands you must avoid immediately and reveal the 2 that are actually safe. Coming in at number 11, we have Capilano Honey. Capilano is Australia's most recognizable honey brand. The Golden Bear bottle sits in nearly every pantry across the country. The label promises pure Australian honey, and the brand has built decades of trust with families who believe they are supporting local beekeepers. But that trust may be misplaced. In 2018, a nuclear magnetic resonance test conducted by a German laboratory flagged Capilano honey samples as adulterated. The test suggested the presence of added sugars, potentially rice syrup or corn syrup, blended into what was marketed as pure honey. Capilano denied the allegations, but the damage was done. Consumer confidence cracked like a dropped jar on a supermarket floor. For seniors managing blood sugar levels or diabetes, this matters more than most realize. Genuine honey has a lower glycemic impact than processed corn syrup blends. When you drizzle what you believe is pure honey into your morning porridge, you expect a natural sweetener. If that honey is cut with cheap industrial syrups, your glucose response changes without warning. Your careful dietary management becomes guesswork. The texture of some Capilano batches has been described as unusually thin and overly smooth. Real honey crystallizes over time. It thickens and develops natural granules as glucose separates from fructose. Honey that stays perpetually liquid and pourable suggests something has been added to prevent that natural process. That smooth pour is not a feature. It is a warning sign. Why does a brand that claims Australian heritage source honey from multiple countries and blend it under one label? The question lingers every time you reach for that familiar bottle. At number 10, we have Lowry Honey. Lowry has been a budget favorite for decades. You will find it in supermarkets across Australia, priced competitively against premium brands. The packaging suggests wholesome beekeeping and natural sweetness. But affordability often comes at a hidden cost. Consumer watchdog groups have raised concerns about Lowry's sourcing practices. The brand blends honey from Australian and imported sources, and independent testing has questioned whether all batches meet purity standards. When honey is sourced from multiple countries and blended in large volumes, traceability becomes nearly impossible. You lose the ability to know where your honey actually originated. For seniors concerned about pesticide exposure, imported honey presents real risks. Agricultural regulations vary dramatically between countries. Honey imported from regions with lax oversight may contain traces of glyphosate, neonicotinoids, or other pesticides banned or restricted in Australian agriculture. These chemicals accumulate in your system over time. For those already managing compromised immune function or neurological conditions, additional pesticide exposure compounds existing risks. The aroma of Lowry honey has been described by some consumers as flat and lacking the floral complexity of genuine Australian bush honey. Real honey should smell rich, complex, and distinctly different depending on the nectar source. If your honey smells generic or lacks any discernible character, something is missing. Ever notice how the cheapest options often have the most questions behind them? Lowry makes you wonder what else gets lost when the price drops that low. Now at number 9, we have Coles Honey. Coles is one of Australia's largest supermarket chains, and their store brand honey lines the shelves of thousands of locations. Millions of Australians trust the Coles label because of convenience and price. But trust built on familiarity does not guarantee safety. Coles Honey has faced criticism for vague labeling practices. Terms like blended honey and product of Australia using local and imported ingredients allow manufacturers to mix genuine Australian honey with cheaper imports from countries with questionable safety standards. These legal loopholes let companies prioritize volume over verification. For seniors with kidney issues, hidden ingredients matter more than most realize. High fructose corn syrup, commonly used to stretch honey supplies in adulterated products, puts extra strain on kidneys already working hard to filter metabolic waste. If you are managing chronic kidney disease, every unlisted ingredient becomes a potential threat to your careful health management. A 2023 investigation found that some store-brand honeys in Australia contained pollen profiles inconsistent with their claimed origins. Without pollen, there is no fingerprint, no traceability, no accountability. The golden squeeze bottle looks innocent on the shelf, but behind that familiar Coles branding is a supply chain that prioritizes cost over clarity. Do you check the fine print on your honey labels, or do you trust the brand name alone? Coles Honey suggests that trust might be misplaced. Stick around because the fix is coming. The solution could change how you shop for honey forever. Number 8 brings us to Woolworths Honey. Woolworths competes directly with Coles for supermarket dominance in Australia. Their house brand honey promises value and quality in equal measure. But competition on price often creates a race to the bottom, and honey purity becomes collateral damage. Independent consumer testing has raised questions about Woolworths honey batches showing unusual consistency and flavor profiles that do not match genuine Australian honey characteristics. Some samples lacked the enzymatic activity that real honey possesses naturally. Genuine honey contains enzymes that provide antibacterial and antioxidant benefits. When honey is ultra-processed, heated excessively, or diluted with syrups, these enzymes are destroyed. For seniors hoping honey will soothe sore throats or support immune function during cold and flu season, adulterated honey delivers empty promises. You think you are reaching for a natural remedy with proven benefits, but if those therapeutic compounds have been processed out or diluted away, you are consuming empty calories dressed up in nature's packaging. The crystallization test reveals much about honey authenticity. Place your honey in the refrigerator for several hours. Real honey will thicken and begin forming crystals. Honey that remains perfectly pourable after refrigeration likely contains added syrups designed to prevent natural crystallization. Try this test with your Woolworths honey. The results might surprise you. Why do supermarket giants prioritize shelf stability over authentic quality? The answer involves profit margins that consumers never see on the label. At number 7, we have IGA Black and Gold Honey. Black and Gold is the budget tier brand found in IGA stores across Australia. The no-frills packaging signals value-conscious shopping. But when it comes to honey, rock-bottom prices should trigger immediate skepticism. The economics simply do not support genuine honey production at Black and Gold price points. Australian beekeepers face rising costs for hive management, disease prevention, and ethical labor practices. When a honey product sells for significantly less than the production cost of genuine Australian honey, mathematics demands an explanation. Consumer complaints about Black and Gold honey frequently mention watery consistency and lack of authentic honey flavor. The texture pours too easily. The taste registers as generic sweetness, without the floral or eucalyptus notes that characterize genuine Australian bush honey. These sensory clues suggest dilution or adulteration that no label will admit. For seniors on fixed incomes who rely on budget brands to stretch their grocery dollars, this betrayal cuts deep. You make sacrifices elsewhere to afford wholesome food, only to discover that savings come at the cost of authenticity and potential health impacts. The budget choice becomes the false economy. What is the true cost of honey that costs almost nothing? Black and Gold leaves that question unanswered. If this helps you stay safer at the store, hit subscribe. It is free, and it means you will never miss these exposés. Number 6 on our list is Beechworth Honey. Beechworth trades heavily on Australian heritage and regional identity. The brand evokes images of Victorian countryside apiaries and generations of beekeeping tradition. Premium pricing suggests premium quality, but heritage branding does not guarantee purity in modern global supply chains. Questions have emerged about Beechworth's sourcing practices as the brand has scaled production to meet growing demand. When volume increases dramatically, quality control faces enormous pressure. Some batches have shown inconsistent color and flavor profiles that suggest blending practices designed to meet quantity targets rather than maintain authentic character. For seniors who pay premium prices for products they believe are superior, inconsistency represents a fundamental breach of trust. You spend more because you expect better. You choose Beechworth over generic alternatives because the brand promises something the cheap options cannot deliver. When that promise wavers, the premium becomes a penalty. The viscosity of Beechworth honey varies notably between batches. Some jars pour thick and rich with the slow drip characteristic of genuine honey. Others flow freely with suspicious ease. Natural variation between harvests explains some difference, but dramatic inconsistency suggests something more concerning happens between the hive and your table. Have you ever compared 2 jars from the same brand and found they taste completely different? Beechworth makes you question whether consistency matters to large-scale producers anymore. Coming in at number 5, we have Westcobee honey. Westcobee markets itself as Western Australia's premier honey producer. The brand emphasizes the unique flora of WA's bushland and the distinctive characteristics of Jarrah and Mari honey varieties. Regional pride anchors the marketing, but regional pride does not prevent commercial compromises. Testing has revealed that some Westcobee batches contain pollen profiles that do not match the claimed Western Australian origins. This suggests blending with honey from other regions or potentially other countries before bottling under the Westcobee label. The Jarrah honey you think you are buying may be diluted with cheaper alternatives that lack the unique antibacterial properties WA honey is famous for. For seniors specifically seeking Jarrah honey for its wound, healing properties or antibacterial benefits, this adulteration undermines therapeutic applications. You apply what you believe is medicinal-grade Jarrah honey to a slow healing wound, expecting the unique antibacterial compounds to support recovery. If that honey has been diluted with standard clover honey or worse, you are not receiving the therapeutic benefit you paid premium prices to obtain. Every jar can be traced to specific hives in known locations throughout the city. The company maintains rigorous testing protocols and publishes results transparently on their website for anyone to verify. This is honey you can research yourself before purchasing. The founder started Bee One Third to address exactly the concerns we have discussed today after becoming frustrated with the industry. Frustrated by the lack of transparency in commercial honey, the company built its entire business model around verification and traceability that sets new standards for the industry. Every beekeeper is known by name. Every hive location is documented and can be visited. Every batch is tested and recorded with results available to consumers. For seniors seeking honey they can trust completely, Bee One Third delivers documentation that other brands cannot match regardless of price point. You know exactly which rooftop or community garden your honey comes from. You know the beekeeper by name. You can visit the apiaries if you choose and see the hives yourself producing your honey. This level of transparency eliminates the uncertainty that plagues commercial honey operations and gives you confidence that premium prices reflect premium product. The flavor of Bee One Third honey varies with the seasons, reflecting whatever Brisbane's urban gardens are flowering at harvest time. Spring batches taste different from autumn batches because the nectar sources change naturally. This variation is authenticity you can taste with every spoonful. Industrial honey aims for uniform flavor through blending practices that erase origin. Artisan honey celebrates the natural variation that proves genuine origin and connects you to specific places and seasons. The texture is rich and thick, exactly as genuine honey should be when it comes straight from the hive. The color ranges from pale gold to deep amber depending on nectar sources. Crystallization happens naturally over time, exactly as genuine honey should behave without additives or processing designed to extend shelf life. When you open a jar of Bee One Third, you smell the local landscape. This is what honey is supposed to be. Your second safe choice is Mealery honey from Tasmania. Mealery operates in southern Tasmania, producing raw, unprocessed honey from pristine wilderness areas that remain untouched by industrial agriculture and urban development. The company has earned certified organic status through rigorous verification and maintains complete transparency about extraction and bottling methods that preserve everything nature puts into the hive. No heating above natural hive temperatures that would destroy enzymes. No filtering that removes beneficial compounds and pollen. No blending with outside sources that would dilute quality. The owners are passionate beekeepers who prioritize honey quality over production volume in every decision they make. They have deliberately limited their growth to maintain the quality standards that make their products exceptional rather than chasing market share. Every jar represents their personal commitment to authentic honey production that honors both the bees and the consumers who trust them. For seniors prioritizing raw honey's full enzymatic benefits for health applications, Mealery preserves what industrial processing destroys in the name of convenience and shelf stability. The antibacterial properties remain intact. The antioxidants survive undiminished. The natural pollen provides additional nutritional value. This is honey in its complete, uncompromised state, exactly as the bees created it in Tasmania's ancient wilderness. Mealery's leatherwood honey is particularly exceptional, sourced from wild Tasmanian rainforest with documented provenance that other leatherwood products cannot match despite their claims. When you purchase Mealery leatherwood, you receive genuine leatherwood honey at genuine leatherwood concentrations verified by testing. The spicy, complex flavor confirms what the documentation proves with every taste. The crystallization of Mealery honey is predictable and natural. Over time, it develops the thick, creamy texture that indicates proper glucose separation without interference from additives. This is honey behaving exactly as nature intended, unchanged by industrial intervention, designed to extend shelf life at the expense of authenticity and therapeutic value. Do not risk your health on fake honey. The jar on your shelf could be filled with corn syrup, pesticides, or hidden contaminants. Subscribe now, and if you are watching on TV, tap your remote so you never get blindsided again.